Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Halim wa salam bikum. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullah katilil ikwani fati fi din. Salamu ala amani taba hura lil ikwani fati fi Freakier Europa, America, Caribbean, wa kuli makan. To my Fulbeck community, Anjarama Salam Jabtali, Alhamdulillah Jamwali. My dear brothers and sisters, today I'm going to embark on a different type of talk and talk about a very serious situation that we had with the Atlas. As you notice, most all the networks have been quiet about this. They talked about the beginnings of when they first tracked Atlas when it came to the solar system. And what, for a historian like myself, a Muslim, and a person who is among the Futufula community, I start to think about my ancestors and all the scholarship from Timbuktu, even before that time, and also our ancestral brothers down to the south. And all of their education and all of their insight and things they had to say about the interstellar space, they were dismissed. And yet and still, as you heard me say, now why I'm very adamant about this, and I've been writing on a lot of these programs of with many of these astrophysicists, famous and so forth and so on. I've been asking them, they should get to those libraries and the suppositories in Europe, because they stole the monuments and totems that had languages that were developed between our Kimtiyu ancestral brothers and those from the Sirius and another star system. As you heard me talk about for weeks now, the Europeans came into Africa, turncoat Africans began to tell them about their contacts and their knowledge about the interstellar space. And they had totems to show. These totems were used, one, as directional, and they were also pointing to the direction of the Sirius solar system. So they began to go through Africa, from Morocco all the way down to South Africa among the Zulus, and they took all these monuments and took them. So Atlas, as you all been hearing, it's been a lot of information out there. But what is interesting is this: NASA at the beginning was vehement saying this is a comet. Yes, it had different things about it. Then it got quiet. If it's a regular comet, they would have, but they got quiet. All major space agencies around the world were quiet. China talked a little bit. They gave some information here and there, but we don't know if it's true or not. So now I'm talking, brothers and sisters, because as you heard me talk about this some weeks back, about 3 weeks ago, and I gave you something about what happened that they hushed another astrophysicist and his program. I have not seen it anymore. It looked like it's been taken off the air. He talked about these AI Atlas has sent transmissions to those in this particular New Zealand space laboratory, not space observatory, and all developed some sort of it's funny, the English. In Arabic language, we call this mushahada. Mushahada is like a dream. Is you in between a dream, but it's almost like it's real. And a lot of times these things are real. All of them had the same type of dream, the same visions of light and so forth and so on. That was suppressed. And they closed down this observatory, and the man who sent the original message, which he was not authorized to do, to Atlas, and Atlas sent the message back, he was censored his computer. But before they could seize it, he wrote a cryptic message about what he had did. And there was others who verified that he sent the message. The message was sent back. So that's the backdrop. Then we had the other news of Atlas in its orbit around Mars. I won't get into a lot of scientific names and so forth. So I'll give you some, but I'll keep it as bare as I can. As it got near Mars, it sent a beam to the dark side of the moon. They said that it was received and a beam was shot back to Atlas. All of this stuff has now been verified and has been suppressed. But now, since NASA and many agencies and our agencies like CIA and those their brothers and sisters across Europe and Australia who have their agencies, there's so many thousands and thousands of people with telescopes. Thousands and thousands of people have gotten information. They can't kill everybody. They can't jail everybody. They can't shut everybody up. And now, because of this, many have networked. They've encrypted their own stuff of what they saw up in the interstellar space. Some have revealed it. Others are keeping it quiet. So now, brothers and sisters, we talked about this issue many times before. And our ancestors, they were something. Excuse me, let me see who we have here. How you doing, my dear sister? Thank you very much for showing up today. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. And our brothers, ancestral brothers, had this innate knowledge about the interstellar space. We talked about this many times, but I'm going to give you something today that will help you to sew all this up. And the book and the man who wrote it, believe it or not, is the American Indian. But he too had certain visions that took him to Africa, to our brothers here, to Ifriqiya, to Africa. He met with those who are of knowledge. Some were griots, those are the ones who are the caretakers of history and so forth and so on. Others were marabouts and so forth and so on. But he met with those who carried the traditions of what they know would happen with their populations and the arrival of those Allah's creations. That's what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala calls them in the Quran. His creations in the Samawat, in the heavens. And so he began to talk to them, and they began to tell them exactly what had transpired. I'll tie that in at a little later date. Little time. Back to this. We have, and I'm going to show you his picture here. Where are we at here? Now, they have erased, excuse me, brother, sister, it's not that part yet. Here he is. Brothers, sisters, this is a great, great famous physicist. It's him who has braved the odds. It's him who was in the room when a transmission came from Atlas. You can check him in his program, and I suggest that you follow him. He is more truthful and he's very, very knowledgeable about the interstellar space. And I suggest that you follow his station. There's a lot of clickbait stations on there proclaiming all type of things, but I would not follow them. And my suggestion is you follow him. And there's a couple other Avi Loeb, and there's a couple other people. If anybody wants some information about who they can follow to get good information, please let me know, and I can forward that to you. I know we could say, well, it doesn't bother me. This has nothing to do with me. It does have something to do with you, because the chilling message that I'm going to give you does have to do with you, especially if you're Muslim. This great physicist here, Professor Kaku Dr. Kaku, very, very, very knowledgeable. It's him, brothers and sisters. If you remember now, many years ago, is I think maybe over 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, they did a study on water. I don't know if you remember this. It was in YouTube for many, many years. And a Muslim scientist who knew him and his German, I think it was two Germans and himself, he told them about the magic water of Zemzem. Everybody knows that Muslims, Saudi Arabia, you know, it's a long history of Abraham, so forth and so on, and how it was discovered and all that. He measured, they analyzed this water, and they found all of these things to it that didn't make sense. And again, this is part of his legacy, and he didn't come to Islam because of it. He should have, but he didn't. But you know, that's another story. But he did examine this water, and his study, him and these two other physicists, and they studied the water. It was very, very interesting. I'll give you some snippets of this. You know, they said that Zamzam water, they dropped one drop in this into impure water. Now I'm not talking about dirty water, that's in the dirt. I'm talking about this regular drinking water. It improves it 100%. Oh, just a drop. You don't have to go half and half. Just one drop of this water, they examined it. Secondly, they examined the Zamzam and found the water to be alive. Yes, brothers and sisters, they found it to be like an organism. It was alive. This is very interesting as well, which caught my interest to start me to go back to hit the books again about schooling. Because, you know, when you graduate from university, you had enough. Because in my generation, to be a black man, a Kimti, or Neheshi, and you graduating, that's an honor. Because why I say that? Because especially from white institutions, Tubab institutions, because it's not the work that was difficult. It's dealing with racism with students and racism with the staff. So when a black man, a Kimti, a Neheshi, when he gets his degree, he earned it. See, because he had to go through hell to get it. So anyway, he's at the center of this. And he gives in this one tape here, what you see here. I don't know if you can see it here. Let me take this part out. This is him here, and he's got a whole series of these YouTube videos. I suggest that you follow. He's extremely knowledgeable, and he speaks very good English, and he gives you a good rundown on what has happened. So now, what's leading to why it took me days to talk about this? Because it's very troubling, brothers and sisters, and it's very hurtful in some regards. But it also confirms you, Muslim, you as a Muslim, and the message of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, we know is true, based upon something that transpired between Atlas and dignitaries around the world who were called to NASA to a secret underground place where they had a big screen. When this coded message came from Atlas, it was all set up. Even him, he's not giving us all the information. How all of them met at one time, they were summoned. So they must have had some contact with Atlas to give instructions, because there's leaders from many different countries around the world. He said there were theologians in translation. In this regard, probably they were Muslims, I would suspect. They're probably, he says, scholars, people deep religion, Jews, rabbis, and so forth. The rabbis, the ulama for Islam, and then the Christian scholars and so forth were present. They were summoned to NASA to hear this transmission. Professor Kako was not invited originally at that time, but he was finally invited because when this transmission first came, nobody could translate this, but he could. Now, here's the big question, brothers and sisters. How did he have this key or playbook in order to translate the transmission from Atlas? This is thing that he didn't get. This is the information he did not give. But according to our ancestors, what they talked about, there is a key. They had it. And I'm not going to say it's a mistake. They put them on totems all over the world. I mean, all over in Africa. Different coded letters and stuff that signified a conversation they had with those in Sirius in particular. He had the code. So they asked him to translate that. And he did. And this is where it got very chilly. And the message reads basically is that he said that the first transmission, and it was a voice that Atlas used, which was based in English. Can you believe this, brother, sister? And you think about the power of Atlas. Atlas is millions and millions and millions of kilometers away from here. And he sent this message. And they talked about, he said that your time is up. This is the translation. And here's how clever this thing was. The original transmission was 60 seconds long, brothers and sisters. 60 seconds long. But when they got into the message, it was 17, what he says, it was 17 hours of information relayed from them in the interstellar space. Now, remember something now. All the accounts, they were waiting for what was going to happen. It was a lot of speculation that Atlas was going to run afoul and crash into Mars. I knew that was hogwash, but a lot of people put that for clickbait. They made it past Mars, and then they were into a position that was in between where the glare of the sun would block out, so we could not see what happened to it. We don't know what happened in between that time as they passed, go into orbit. Now they go to perihelion, and this is where your contact, basically the nearness of the sun, their contact with that. They had to wait to see what's going to happen. As they entered around the sun and their perihelion towards the sun. Okay, their direction meaning getting close, like the sun is like here, right? And it's now in its orbit going this way. And anyone knows about what the solar flares and heat is enough to crush. That's why most comets, you notice, once it gets into the perihelion towards the sun, it begins to melt and begin to disintegrate, and gases happen because of the extreme heating. They could not see this with Atlas. So as Atlas went and made his turn, now reappeared. Here's where it gets interesting, brother, sister, and this is related. Here it gets very interesting. All the Mars telescopes, the Chinese amateur, and we have observatories all over the world, everywhere, South Africa, watching as Atlas reappeared. It's like he was putting on a show. Once it reappeared, it broke into two parts. This is what they had described here. And the professor talked about this. It broke into two parts, brothers and sisters, two parts. Get a load of this. The second part that broke apart disappeared. There's no remnants of it. So it wasn't that the sun destroyed it. It did not. It absorbed the solar rays from the sun and reflected it. This we know now is not a comet. But they still don't want to say. But now some like him and others are now saying this is artificial intelligence from some creations from a solar system they believe is millions and millions of miles, kilometers away. It broke apart and disappeared. It cloaked itself like in a cloak. Remember, like in Star Trek, they show these spacecrafts and it cloaked itself so the Star Trek, Captain Kirk couldn't find it and so forth. This with this thing, when it broke off, There was no debris. They could not find anything. It was broken because of the sun, because solar rays would broke up the spaceship. We would have debris. We'd have iron. We'd have cobalt. We'll have water. we'll have many different things, helium and so forth, scattered because of the breakup. Okay, it was nothing. And this is the part I'm going to get to as well when we talk about our ancestral brothers. Now, as it reappeared out from the perihelion, now they made their ascent from there, right? From the sun, it turned blue. This is not a comet, brothers and sisters. Let's go back. Remember when I had this first class talking about this? You remember as when Atlas was entering into our solar system, they said it was a reddish color. Remember that? And that's not, that could be explained. But still, comets are not like this. When it got closer into our gravitational, arena of our solar system, it turned green. Remember that? And it stayed green. And it broke into 9 different parts. No one has ever seen those 9 different parts again. And then it made its trek through, and then it went close to Mars. We know about that. In this original transmission, brothers and sisters, I'm going to get to this blue color in a minute. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, we have to always honor, respect our guests. That's the African tradition, Kim to you tradition. Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you very, very much for showing up. I really appreciate that. She's very interested in this. I'll give you a sidebar about this, and it's not really off topic. My dad, he's passed on many years now. Me and my sister was talking about when we were little kids. My dad was so interested. Now I understand. When I was a little boy, I told you before, I didn't understand. My dad was trying to push me towards that, but now I understand because there's something about that. And he was very good about talking about that. And it was old, I forgot what they call it, TRW, who were involved in this type of thing, building components for spacecraft, so forth and so on. But anyway, he was deeply involved in that. So thank you very much, my dear sister, for showing up today. So now we'll get back to this message. Atlas sent the 60-second transmission to many observatories around the world. All got the same message, but none could translate it. This is why the professor was asked to come. How he had the key, I don't know, because he's not given that information. I know our African ancestors, our Kimtiyu ancestors, Naheshi, our ancestors had some key because they wrote them on the totems. How professor got the key to talk to them, I don't know. They said they developed a language based upon mathematics. And if you remember right, our brothers in ancient Kemt had mathematical equations that far exceeded anything we had. That's why we know they had contact with those in the interstellar space, which was dismissed for thousands of years now, right? Now, suddenly, we found it's true because this man used some equations. We don't know. He's not given how he translated this 60-minute translation. He's not giving us the information to that. So they called him. When he entered into the secure room, there was a screen, and he said there were people from all over the world there, generals, theologians, and so forth and so on. When the message came, they asked him to begin to translate. He translated the first one, and he said in the message, he said, "This is, your end. Your end is coming to your time is coming to an end." Now, brothers and sisters, let me add this to you. Those who are Muslims and have been studying the Quran and studying the Sunnah of Nabi, alayhi salatu salam, he talks about the timeline running to Yom Kiyama. It means the last day, okay? He gives instances about many things you heard me talk about, the buildings. He gave about killings and so forth and so on. He talked about that. He was talking about the wickedness that will transpire we know that this get in times. We see this today. The wickedness is off the charts now, right? It's going to get far worse. In this transmission, when the professor began to translate, everybody thought it was 60 seconds only. When he began to decode it, it turned out to be, it was 17 hours of instructions that they were giving us. A lot of it still not decoded, but he did decode this, and he talked about, he said, your time is up. And he said that that this is it wasn't a warning. He said, your time is ending. And he said, we've been judging your species for 847, what do you call it, solar rotations. This is what they said. 847 solar rotations. I started to do research on the rotations. Accordingly, the Earth rotation, and they even, like a person's birthday, essentially is like a solar rotation. But the difference between us and them is that their timeline is much different than ours. But they gave, for us to understand, they said it was 847 solar rotations. They have been watching us. And we know this had to be a long time, because in the translation, the professor said that the translation adds up to 200,000 years. So we can calculate that the 847 solar rotations is 200,000 years. They said they cataloged every war, every migration, human migration, and they recorded all wickedness. We know this in the Arabic language is shar. Okay, shar and sharira, meaning, sharira mubina, extreme wickedness in the Arabic language. And they catalog also kindness. And he went on in this message from Atlas, talking about our wickedness and how we were destroying the environment. We were destroying mankind. Now, remember something, brothers and sisters, this is related. Remember I told you here about a month ago, one man who's on, he got out of jail. I think they put him in jail for 2 years because he revealed about one shuttlecraft that was sent to the black side of the moon, right? They know this because they have Google Maps. They know there was a crater in this one area. They were going to shoot a nuke. And this is what they're talking about. They were going to shoot a nuke into this crater. When they shot the nuke, it was destroyed completely, and the craft was destroyed. Something was in the crater, destroyed it, or some creation of how power that we just don't understand, they destroyed it. This NASA, somebody gave the information, he ended up getting it, he revealed it, and then they put him in jail for it. But they went on to talk about, they said our species has reached a point to where our technology has exceeded our mannerisms, okay, adapt and the Arabic language, and meaning that our technology is growing, but our mode of how we use it is wicked. So he said that this is a disappointing judgment. They are here to judge us. Now you say, who are these people? I'll get into that. Just be patient, brothers and sisters, please. In this judgment, they cataloged this. Again, go back to this again. They said they have been judging us, watching us, observing us for 847 solar rotations. 847 solar rotations, what we calculate perhaps means 200,000 years, okay, in earthly years, okay? But for them is 847, Atlas, the creation in Atlas. So now they said again about the disappointment, and your species has reached a point to where now they had to step in. Why? We have nuclear bombs everywhere. We're on the brink of wanting to destroy everything. They have stepped in. Now, here's what's curious about this, brothers and sisters. We had Sufi masters from about the 1200s all the way up to the 1800s talk about the same issue. We had one famous Sufi master in the 1800s, I think it was the 1800s before he died, talking about one of these premonitions or mushahada in the Arabic language that he had. He was talking, and you can imagine what the people, when he was, he was very sick, he's ready to die. He was talking about these special satellites that were being, and I mean, they had to think, but there were no airplanes in those days. I mean, 1800s, early 1800s, nothing like that. He said that these things would be used by superpowers around this world. It would be vanished. Let me get to that. He said, this Sufi master, again, and remember something, when the Muslims came in on the scene, I'm getting ahead of myself. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know, gave information to our Nabi, alayhi salam. That's how he got the Quran. How he solved many mysteries that have been going on for thousands and thousands of years, right? He was given many of the mysteries and gave the antidotes to those mysteries, like the oceans and so forth and so on. Now, at this point, they said you have reached a period that we're very disappointed in the results. He said, your species is incapable, listen to this, incapable of joining the cosmic federation. Our ancestors, brothers and sisters, for centuries, well before these Tubab had NASA, before they had Yale, all these famous schools, MIT, I think they call it, I can't remember what they call that, MIT, excuse me, all these famous universities. Our ancestral Kimtiyu brothers, Muslims and non-Muslims, had this information already. They said you are not capable at this time of coming to join the cosmic federation. They have been lambasting us, the Tubab, for centuries, claiming we're off our heads. We're stupid. We're ignorant. You heard about this many times. I talked about they had us painted. I remember I read books. They show very Naheshi, very black, meaning Naheshi, and the language of the Kempt and Neher of ancient, Kempt, Egypt. Naheshi means a very black man. They showed a man, Naheshi, who was in a tree with a banana in his mouth. And they showed pictures also. I remember this as a little boy, and I was ashamed because I know I was black. But I didn't understand everything because, we didn't understand, I didn't understand the full remedy, but I know this man looked like me. I surmised that. But our ancestors, even in Timbuktu, talked about a federation. They call it a galactic federation. Atlas is that. Atlas is the enforcer of this. They were sent to our solar system, brothers and sisters, to give us a final verdict. That verdict meaning, again, yes, we will survive, but here's the punishment. All of our technology that we know that will take us out will be vanished. It will be destroyed. It will be curtailed. That means they put us in a quarantine. There are probably spacecrafts. Now I understand what happened here with the Atlas. It broke into 9 and those things disappeared. The second part, when they passed their perihelion, the Atlas, one portion of it again broke off, disappeared. Now we understand. They said we're not capable, we're not ready to join this because our species have no kindness to it, to us. Look at this. How many genocidal wars? How many, not only the Tubab brothers and sisters, okay, we can't say only them. Our Indian brothers in America, they had wars, they exterminated other Indian villages, right? Other ethnic groups. Here on this continent, we've had wars where we exterminated another. They recorded that. They talked about how vicious we were. And we lack kindness. We're not capable of joining this cosmic federation. They said they will let us survive, but we will be curtailed in our, in our technology. At this time, brothers and sisters, to make their point, the James Webb satellite was retasked. We didn't do it. No human hands touched it. They did. Many satellites around the world suddenly went down. Many other things with military around the world went down all at one time. It showed us its power, millions and millions of miles away. And then suddenly went back online. But the telescope, do we know, did not, now it's been retasked. We don't control it anymore. It's not being controlled by us, meaning human beings. We're not controlling it, they are. China said they sent a probe to get real close to the Atlas. We don't know if it's going to happen or not. They said I'm talking about spitting distance from it. We do not know what's going to happen if they're going to blow them out, or will they send a beam to destroy them? I don't know. None of us know. We're waiting on see what's going to happen with this. But they're trying to meet them they know this trajectory. But the problem is the Atlas, the main body of the Atlas, has disappeared as well. After this transmission, it's gone. It's cloaked. We don't know where it's at. So I don't know how China's trying to find it. I don't know. This is why I'm saying, brothers and sisters, how important it is. And I'll get to our part for us. Brothers and sisters, you have to understand something too as I get to this. You notice something, our ancestors, okay, were visited. Now I don't have to hide nothing. It's true. Those people, like even the great professor, they all know we were. They know we were visited. That's why the Europeans took our monuments and our totems. They know we were. Why they confiscated those documents from Kim? Why they stole many things from West Africa? Because they know we had contacts with the interstellar space. They know that. Then they went on a campaign for centuries to denounce us by saying we're so stupid and we're ignorant. We had nothing. We couldn't even fix food until they came. They said we couldn't even build a house. We had to stay in the rain because we had to wait for them to come. We didn't even know how to make babies until they came. This is their mentality. This is what Atlas is talking about. The genocidal craziness, wickedness that our species have. And the greatest of this, we have to say it as it is the Tubab. The Tubab has killed millions and millions for centuries. After they came out of the Dark Ages in particular, they went on a campaign to obliterate the species, the black race in particular. Why? Remember, Farrakhan, Malcolm, you know, many of our brilliant philosophers and oratory geniuses weighed in on this. But now we have the answer, because for centuries and centuries, the Tubab focused here in Africa to suppress it because they know that we had the antidote and the key to what's going up there. We know that they know we were visited. This is why they went on a campaign, just like they still do today. When the Tubab over here talks crazy by saying, look, you trying to punish me for what some whites did to your ancestors in 1822. I said, wait a minute, but you're guilty. Why? One, you still carry that legacy because you're acting out on what they had done. They made this, just like they did when I'm here. They went to the Moroccans here and start talking to them, telling them all kind of things that's not right. Ignorant, stupid, can't read and write. It goes, this has been going on for 1,000 years, brothers and sisters, their campaign. And Atlas, when they know that, they talked about the wickedness of trying to destroy the species. None other, the greatest of that has been the Tubab. They have been on a campaign, even killing their own. We know that. If you think about this, you know the history, right? Brothers and sisters, remember the history of you know about the Druids, right? Remember the Druids? Okay, we know about them. You study history, they exterminated them. We know that others have been exterminated, but here on this continent, we also did a lot of things as well. So we can't say only the Tubab is that, but Tubab has been in power for many centuries now. And so now we're at this point. The Atlas said in this 17-hour transmission, they said that all of our technology will be curtailed. We'll be allowed to survive. We're allowed to eat. We're allowed to develop what's here on this earth. Yes. But as far as exploration outside of it, it's gone. Anything that we try to send a probe out to contact will be stopped. Here's the last part of the chilling message, brothers and sisters, before I get to our ancestors. It said that they're not here to save the species. That's chilling. What's going to happen to the others that they're talking about? They said, we're not here to save them, talking about us, except the few who have adjusted. Now, brother, sister, you Muslim. What is Islam? Huh? Peace and what? Tranquility and a submission to Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Now, the Muslims are on its way in regards to what Atlas was saying, because our Prophet was teaching us a something, because he's the last remaining, to pull away from mankind and to give kindness, charity, and faith. Even though the Christians claim they're doing this, but they're not on the right path. They're not on the right path, brothers and sisters. They're not on the right path. The Muslims are on the right path, because they said that the few who are over here, who are going around, we call it in Arabic, Quranic Arabic, Siratal Mustaqim. This is what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala calls it in the Quran, talking about a direct path of good, of righteousness. We call this Siratal Mustaqim in the Quranic Arabic. It's tied in. Now, we know Islam is true now because of what Atlas was telling all of these dignitaries who were frozen. Because why? They themselves don't believe. The theologians who were in there, I don't know how many Muslims they had handpicked. We don't know what Muslims were in there, if any were in there at the time. See, we don't know. This last part, then I'm gonna get to our ancestors. When the Atlas broke up, brothers and sisters, this is what makes this awfully, awfully strong too. They said, we have watched you. We are observing you. We are coming here to give you this message in an open dialogue, and we're waiting for you to respond, not responding with rhetoric, because they can see through us. They have access to the DMT in our brains. Now we understand why the Sufi masters, we talked about this before, why they can go into this dimension that allows them to walk across the savannah. Remember we talked about this? We showed the Fulani Sufi masters, the scholars, they can walk across the savannah at that time, the 1700s, 1700s, and part of 1800s, and lions joined them. This is what we're talking about now. Now we have an understanding, because somebody had to help our ancestors to have this type of thing. And then now they discovered a chemical in our brain called DMT, which is responsible for our dreams. Somehow or another, this is tied in. See? So now, the transmission, and now get to our ancestors. Brothers and sisters, the transmission that was given when they did speak in the monitor at NASA in the special room, it was in the English language. They know us very well. This coincides with our ancestors who said they came here and they said they would come back. Mainly the doggone people there in Mali. They spoke to us in the English language. The professor said he did not know how to characterize this. He said it was a voice, but it wasn't a voice. How did they have access to our medium here? They did. They had access because they came in and it's a special channel that nobody could to intercept. Incredible. We got a message here. I hope they speak on this. This video is here on YouTube. They call it the blue star. Yeah, what? Linda, explain to me what do you mean by what they call blue? What do they call the blue star? Please let me know what you mean by where they're calling the blue star. So now, brothers and sisters, let's get to our ancestral brothers. We had an American Indian brother by the name of Robert Morning Sky. That's his name. He wrote this book. I forgot the name of it. I can get it, but I got excerpts of it. Plus, we have another African scholar, a Kempty, who also went around through Africa, through Africa, all the way from, he went among the Amazigh, who stayed in the desert, in the Sahara. He went all the way down to among our Zulu brothers down in South Africa to get information about the totems and about their contacts with Sirius. And he wrote this one book about this. Anybody interested in this, please let me know. I can pass this information. It's about 100 pages long and so forth and so on. But our Indian brother from America began to go to scribes, griots. He was led to this, and then he compiled this information. They call it the Syrians, not the Syrians that we talk about Syria, brothers and sisters. We talk about the Sirius. We talk about Sirius star system. I kind of touched on this weeks back. They are the guardians. These particular people who I believe was this who the professor was talking with, who was translating their transmission. In this, our brothers, our ancestral brothers, gave this information to Robert Sky, Morning Sky, to told them about the supreme creative forces and their role in the galaxies. And he talked about this. If you read this is pretty lengthy. This area, this is a pretty interesting. Now we know that our ancestors telling the truth. They talked about these guardians, and they were designed to protect the galaxy. Remember, I was telling you the crazy thing I saw here about it. It had to be maybe a year because it went so fast. Some politician or some scientist in America was talking about they were developing a spacecraft that they will use to go into interstellar space, and they will detonate a nuke. And now that's not going to happen, brothers and sisters, because these people are not controlling. We're not controlling nothing. We're not going to even control Earth. We don't even control it anymore. They're controlling it. Because of our mismanagement and malfeasance, they're controlling it. Yes, you can grow your crops. Yes, you can have babies. Yes, you can get married. Yes, you can have your little squabbles. Yes, all that. But as far as destroying, you won't be able to do it anymore. These genocidal racists, too, Bob, who are involved in that type of thing, will be curtailed. This coincides. Remember, now we know the Great War is going to happen. When the Sufi masters said after they disable these satellites, the ground wars will begin again. Malcolm said the same thing in the early 60s before he assassinated. He said the Americans will not be able to sustain ground wars anymore. They will lose. When the final battle happens between the Muslims and the Christians, they will die, they will get destroyed. And it's going to be hand-to-hand combat. It won't be using any technology because why? The Galaxy Federation will curtail that. Now, you see this here, as you read this, they talk about these individuals and this federation. We know also now that the professor talked about this federation. It's news to him. Maybe he knew about it earlier, but we know it. We know it to be true because this is we know this for centuries before even he knew it. Before he was even born, before his father's father was born, we already had this information. I think my sister responded back. Okay, she says here. I said, okay, you're okay. Blue Star is here to destroy the fourth world. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. I'll check that out. What I know too that is that the professor said that in the transmission, Atlas said that other similar spacecraft will be coming to our solar systems. And he said that in this transmission, Atlas told that we're going to face hard times, which coincide with the Prophet, the Nabi, what he said. It coincides with that we'll have hard times ahead of us. See, we know this is to be the case. So that we know they're gonna face hard times, all of us. And so we have that part of it. Let me see if this is a second part to that. Okay. No, it's not it. I think it's this one. Okay, now here's the Robert Morning Sky's book here. If you can get this book, I can't get it here. I got excerpts of it and so forth. Those who's interested in this, he did some very deep research and so forth and so on. And we know it's the case. We know these people. He talks about the Sirius and the Pleiades solar system. I don't know where that's at. I got to look that up again. Where these the beings who are sent to control us, to control to tell us to make sure we don't do nothing anymore that will destroy the mankind. Now, we also know this part that they described the people that there were two. Now, here's the part. If you look at the first yellow part, get near the end, you remember what the professor was talking about. We know that Atlas, okay, to make it short, let me add this to this. In this particular research, our ancestors talked about the Federation. They had two names. This coincides almost with our ancient brothers in Kemt. The Kemt had 5 names. Here in this Federation, all of the galaxies who are connected to it, they have 2 names. They have the galaxy name and their own name from their native, where their planet is. And they're designed by colors. Look what it says here, near the end here. It says that if they are feline, meaning they look like animals of some sort, these creations that we know, they can change into human being because they have that technology. But there's 2 types of species that they talk about. But what is interesting here is that it talks about that the representation by colors. One of these who belong to this particular federation, their colors are green and blue. Atlas befuddled all of the scientists around the world. When it changed green, they couldn't understand it. First they tried to say it was this, but it didn't make sense. Then when it exits its perihelion from the sun, meaning now it's moving away from us, going out from its orbit, right? We're still in the orbit, but now it's pulled away from now the closeness to the sun. It's called perihelion. As you get towards the sun, now it's pulling away, right? Now it turned blue. So now we know that the colors of Atlas, their Federation colors, are green and blue. you heard me for weeks. I even have brothers, I even had a Tubab tell me how first the Tubab all this time said I was so stupid, ignorant. They said I couldn't even tie my shoes. They had everybody at the cafe, some of these cafes here in Fez, they go over there and talk a show. And they start talking about I couldn't even tie my shoes, one told me, but when one of these Tubab said. They said I was so stupid that my wife had to come and tie my shoes. Some said I was so stupid, I couldn't even, when I had to go to the bank, I needed either him or somebody to come to show me how to do the ATM. They had a big laugh, but they're not laughing anymore. That's why they're talking about killing, because I don't fit the narrative. Just like Malcolm, since you can't fit the narrative they give you, this is what Atlas is talking about. These type of people here, they're genocidal racists and they're evil and wicked. And that's why they said they will never allow us to come out into this cosmic family because of the wickedness. Not only them, those who follow them are part of that. They said the only ones who will be saved are those who will break away from that. That's the Muslims. That's the Muslims, brothers. The Muslims. Because our religion breaks us away from them. What does Subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about why he's so angry with the Christians and the Jews? Because they allowed to corrupt their religion and their books. After Subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them guidance, they corrupted it. Islam, he said, I will not let that happen. He said, I'm going to create one book and it will stay until Yom Kiyama. Our religion calls us to break away from that. This is what they were talking about. They said the very few, their message is for those of us who will break away from that, the Muslims. That's why the Tubab and others, Kuffar, are so angry with us, because they try to force us to come back into their evil wickedness. Atlas is saying, no, you will be saved, those, but the other ones, this species here, your time is running out. What coincides with what the prophet said. He said that the wickedness will be allowed to stay on the earth where it will be destroyed. Now we have that. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his wisdom, gave to the Prophet ﷺ, our Nabi ﷺ, in a chilling hadith, he told and gave instructions to the Muslims. This coincides with what Atlas said. He said it should be a campfire between us. A separation. Not for mankind, meaning that we spit on everybody, that we mistreat. No. But faith and direction. Remember, in the Quran, Subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the two words, Siratal Mustaqim, meaning a straight, direct, righteous path. That righteous path is against what the Tubab, the American government, the Kuffar, all these people worship the devil, all that. That's over here. The Muslims are here. This is what they're talking about. They said, these here, your time is running out. The ones he said the message is for is those that are over here who have now broke away from them and are going towards that of mankind, of humbleness, meaning not genocidal, meaning to kill mankind. The Christians and their power they have today, they want to send a nuke into the outer star space. They went to the moon already and tried to do that and got the craft blown out and the nuke was destroyed. Now you have it, brothers and sisters. You start doing your research. You get the professor's thing here, please, and you watch that and you subscribe and learn. You Muslims, you start to hone up your faith now. Your faith is true. We have somebody from the Federation telling you this message, he said, if 17 hours is directed for those who broke away from the wicked. So practice your faith, brothers and sisters, the Muslims. You practice your faith, you're on the right path. You don't go among the kuffar and you take their governance. Those people, they're not talking about that. Those Muslims, we already know Subhanahu wa ta'ala, what he says in the Quran about us who want, because he said, if you go around among them, you are of them. We have that. Surah 5, verse 51, I believe it is. Subhanahu wa ta'ala's point. Now we have the cosmos. because they're under the direction. They were sent by the Federation to come to our solar system to give us a message. And they did. 17 hours of it. And a lot of it's not translated yet. But the chilling parts, the professor did translate that. And see, because he's not a Muslim, because they don't have this special relationship with Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Yes, he got knowledge, but now you see what's happened. He is stumbling because he don't understand this message. But we as Muslims do understand this message. We were ordered to break away from all of this. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has names for these people. See? He says over here, we're mu'mineen, muslimin, mu'mineen, special class of people. Over here, you have munafiqeen, fasiqeen, dhalimin. We have these are three. These are the ones we're talking about. Then we have the disbelievers. We have the kuffar. All of them, brothers and sisters, of who Atlas was talking about here. These, over here. He says, your time is running out. My message is for those who broke away from that. That's the Muslims. Our ancestors had that information. And this is what makes this so interesting. See, and the colors of the one of this that belongs to Sirius is blue and green. There's other ones whose color in the Federation is gold, meaning we may catch a spacecraft that may come into our solar system and turn to a gold color, which is going to befuddle the scientists. Now you have it. So when he and Atlas said they're coming. See, and the professor said we will have a series of these. We've already started to have that over the last couple of years. Now we're going to have a series of these. We watch their coloring. We'll know they're part of the Federation because of colors. The Atlas color is green and blue. It's befuddling to all the scientists. It left its perihelion with the contact with the sun, nearest contact with the sun, and came around, broke into two. The second part disappeared. No fragments nowhere. It cloaked itself, we know. And then it turned blue. Brothers, now you have that. Okay, now you have that information. And I wanted to do that. We got my sister here saying something. I sent link. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm going to see that. And here's my dear cousin. How you doing, my dear cousin? Walaikum salam. Shukran jazilan lek for showing up here today. I really appreciate that. I gave you this today, brothers and sisters. This, I know many people dismiss this. Even the professor was talking about that. He said that mankind is asleep. He said they don't. Look, the governments of the world have shut down. They're not talking about this. The leading astrophysicists now drop the Atlas topic. It's no more. They're talking about other things, other comments they're viewing. We have many things. There's things talking about they're sending alerts. These clickbait. Watch that, because they'll just try to get you so you can click their station. They have no proof of this. But we do know that that there's a quietness. NASA has been quiet. The European Space Agency is quiet. All are quiet. Nobody's talking about this transmission. Nobody's talking about its directive. Reason why a lot of the Europeans and Americans are not talking about it, because it goes hard at them because of white supremacy. Everything is white. They even show beings in the outer stellar space as Europeans from Norway, with Nordic type features and all this type of thing. They even showed creations coming from this region as that. How many you see in YouTube and in Google? They show themselves in outer stellar space. This contradicts this, brothers and sisters, because here they talk about the one looks like a reptilian. He's half man, half, but they can change to a human form, but they are not as we understand them. See, and so now we have this. The guardians, okay, are extraterrestrials, okay, but creations, and they are here to enforce the rules of creation. This is Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. What does Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in the Quran? When he talked about Sirius, he said, I'm behind you. In Surah 91, Al-Shams, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, he talks about the universe and the sun. And this is called the sun, is the name of the surah. He says, I'm the one who built it. I'm the one who created it. I'm the one who's behind it. I'm the one who orchestrates that. So we know that the angels control the heavens for Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It's not that Subhanahu wa Ta'ala can't do it, but that's part of their job. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala also said in the Quran, he says, I want you to meet, I'm going to allow you to meet. Now we've had a contact in modern times. Our ancestors already had contact with them. And they can change because they have this technology, just like the technology now. Here's Atlas way out, okay? And he's sending messages, even TV messages through, this is their power they have. So now we have that, brothers and sisters, and I'm a stickler about this because why? As a historian, because we know we've been slighted as Muslims, we've been slighted as Kim to you people, and so forth and so on. And now we have the direct thing, and now we have a professor who is talking about this, and he gave the chilling message. And that chilling message, again, is your time is running out. And the cleverness of this 60-minute transmission was actually embedded. 17 hours information was embedded in the 60-second transmission. Wow. The oral transmission in the speech, when he gave the warning, was in English. Your species has reached its first evaluation period, evaluation period, with disappointing results. This is what the voice from Atlas who was speaking. And they've been observing us for 847 solar rotations, which we think equals to 200,000 years, because he said 200,000 years, we've counted up all your wars, all human migration, and all wickedness. Man, oh man, oh man. So you have it, brothers and sisters. Now, I know this is not going to get out. I know, I've been sending things out and nobody, I'm looking at video analysis, notifications, meaning people who subscribe to me. I'm only getting 1% out of 1,200 and something I have now. Nobody's getting my subscriptions. Nobody's getting my things. And a lot of times it's too, as our brother was talking to me the other day about, he said, a lot of times we have apathy. We have that. But this is a serious issue, brother, that goes to the heart of your faith. You need to have the right system of belief. And you can't follow the groups and those who are involved in this wickedness that Atlas is talking about, because he says your time is running out. We don't know what that means, but we know the Nabi said the wicked will be allowed to stay on the earth so it'll be, when it's destroyed, they will be destroyed with it, because they're going to go to Jahannam, meaning hell, anyway. So they're going to let them come on this earth. They'll kill, rob, fornicate, do all kind of things in this time. It'll be so bad. And then finally, the Subhanahu wa Ta'ala pulled the plug. But he sent the Atlas, who is enforcer of cosmic law, okay, under the Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's permission, to give us a message about this. This is the final message, brother, sister. The Prophet ﷺ gave you the message. Now they're to enforce it. They come and tell you all this wickedness they recorded for 200,000 years. See, and they said the message is not for the wicked. It's not for President Trump. We're not talking about all the wicked. It's not for them. They said those who broke away from all of the others. That's the Muslims. That's the Muslims. The Muslims is the only one who broke away from all that. And their religion is dealing with the seven heavens. Christianity is not. And Judaism, I love my Jewish brothers, but I know many, but they're not on the right path. And we don't know all of the right path that they're talking about. They're talking about governance, everything. All this has to be included. It's not just sheer wickedness, meaning shooting, robbing, killing. See? So we have that element. But the Muslims have been ordered. The Prophet ﷺ said, we have a campfire between us. There's got to be a separation. This is what they said. The message is for those who separated from that. I keep saying it again. It's the Muslims. It's the Muslims. It's the Muslims. We were ordered to separate from these people, not race of people, the wicked, those who are involved in falsehood. That's why Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has all of these names in the Quran about the wicked over here. See, even Muslims who say the Muslims will be here because this is their real faith is not actually be a Muslim. It's a lie. They're actually in cahoots with these here. That's why they fight Muslims and work against the Muslims. Now you have it. You had the message from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave to the Prophet ﷺ. Boom, come over here. Sirat al-Mustaqim, the righteous path. You go this direction. Okay, and you forbade all wickedness, all fornication, stealing, robbing, all that. Then you have those over here, the kuffar, the dalimin, the munafiqeen, the fasiqeen, the dalimin, so forth and so on. The mufsideen. There's many names Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has inside the Quran about these people here. If that don't send chills down your back. And for those who are not Muslims, I pity you. Because Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has sent a messenger to a degree here to give us that message. And it's a chilling one. And I don't know about you, brothers and sisters, but that's going to hone me in my faith. See, it's going to make me even more devout Muslim, even though they fight me every single day for my faith. I'm here in a Muslim country and we have people surrounding me who the Tubab puts to fight me. I told you what they said 2 weeks ago. The guy come to me telling me if I become an apostate, then they'll leave me alone. Here we have a Amir Mu'mineen here, the commander of the faithful. The faithful are not kuffar, they're Muslims, they're Mu'mineen. And he's telling me to leave this, to leave Islam and be like the Tubab here who say they Muslim, they're not, but to be like them. Now Atlas is telling you too, my message, they said, is not for these here. He said, it's those who are separated from that. Oh boy. Get a hold of the professor's tape and review it and study it, brothers and sisters. Okay? Study, Professor, here it is in the right-hand corner there, Professor Kaku's message here. He's got many of them. Subscribe to his station if you're interested. I suggest that you should, because he's giving you rightful guidance in regards to what this Atlas is doing. It's him who translated, and I sure as heck want to know how he did it. And where did he get the key and code to do it? Because our ancestors had it. So how did he get it? And we know that the Europeans, the Tubab, took our totems, and they've probably been studying that for centuries, for a couple of centuries at least. See, so now, brothers and sisters, I'm close here to ending, and we see what we got. Wait a minute, here we go. Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you. Yes, thank you very much for that. And we have here. Oh no, excuse me. That's my sister. Okay, we have. Boy, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. How you doing, my dear brother? Thank you very much. I like that. Hey, thank you very much for showing up, my dear brother. Thank you very, very, very much for that. And brothers and sisters, again, I'm not going to push anybody in this regard. I want you to listen to the professor, and then you make your observations, and then you go from there and start doing your research. I suggest that you follow this atlas because it was a message that was sent from this federation, and the federation is guarding the cosmos for Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. They're under the tutelage of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The angels gave the instructions. So now they came and gave their message, and that message, and you listen, especially near the end of the message of the professor, where he's giving you about, they said it's not for these that they're talking about, the wickedness and all the other stuff, those who create wars, they're not talking about them. They said those who broke away. And boy, that right there is scary. That right there is scary, brothers and sisters. Okay, it's very scary. And I think about our great ancestors, and I think about them, and I just can't, how can I say? Subhanahu wa Ta'ala put us on this earth first for a reason. And the old kingdom dynasty of Kemt, all of the greatest knowledge the world has known came from that time. Yes, today we have a lot of knowledge. And we have a lot of knowledge of the interstellar space, especially the chemical makeup. We didn't have that. But we had something before they developed all of this, all these telescopes and all this other stuff. I wrote to the professor today, one of his tapes I wrote a couple of times, and I see people. I got a real funny remark. I know it's one of these guys around here. I know that because what he said, I let them to play games. But I wrote to him and I said to him that I believe, in all due respect to him, I said, these creations are so clever, they can cloak even their planets so it looked like nobody's living there, when in fact, they're in another dimension and people are living there. It's just that we cannot see them. And that's their cloaking device, and they can give illusions. And that's why they said they think there's creations on Mars. It's just that we can't see them. And we have now rovers and everything all over the place in Mars. See? So we think this is the situation. And now, with this warning, we're going to look. They said they even the satellite systems, they changed. They even said we will start seeing improvement as far as even our cell phones. They corrected many things. Why? To keep us here on this earth, because we have been indicted. We're now in a jail. We're in an incision in the Arabic language. We're now in a jail. We're not going to be able to allow to leave because of the indictment given against us, as you heard me say in early part. So they're going to let us develop. They're going to help us to develop. And they said they leave it open. They leave it open for an answer from us when we have evolved from what we're doing today. Instead of killing the species, we try to help the species. Okay? Meaning we have people that's poor here. We help them. We don't do them. The things that's going on in Gaza, all this killing and genocidal killing, stop it. The stuff that's going on in the United States, where we have genocidal racists running the show, killing black folk, jailing black folk, police out of control. All of this stuff is being recorded by the guardians of the cosmos. And Atlas is that. It was sent here to send this message, and now we don't know where it's at. it's cloaked itself. We know it's here. We know it's not moving out. And we know that. And after its perihelion, it appeared in a blue color. Now, this is, and again, each of the galaxies, they have their own colors. We'll see another spacecraft come here. We'll see what color it turns. If it turns gold, we know it's coming from this, you know, and so forth. We know now that this federation is true. Some said that Jewish scientists said that we had already joined the federation, but I don't think it's the case, because if we had joined the federation already, they wouldn't have came here to chastise us and say that we will not be allowed to join the family. That's what they said. All of this is very intriguing. Could you do a video on Mamadou and regarding Sufi? Yeah, brother. Okay, but this is not today. You know, I talked about the Polar, our brothers, in about the war and so forth and so on. I may get to that in another time, but I can't discuss that today, because we have urgent business today about this atlas and what it did and what it transpired. And I'm trying to get people to understand, you know, and I'm talking about Muslims and non-Muslims alike. They addressed us. And I don't know, and please go to the professors and listen to his translation of this message that he had. Please get a hold of this tape here. And those who want more stuff, please let me know, so that way I can get, you know, you have the right tape. If you join my WhatsApp channel, I have that there. So I always have information on my Fulani channel, different types of subject. You get updated. I don't send updates every single day, so I don't cloud your phones and so forth with a lot of nonsense. I won't do that. But you join my WhatsApp station. I don't know who's joined. I have no way of knowing who's joined, but I suggest that you join it, because you get a lot of good history, and you'll get commentary and whatnot. And I put his message there, and you got to check it out, because that message from Atlas is chilling. It is chilling. They sent that message, and it's very, very chilling, and even spoke to them in the English language, which also is something, you know. And the thing I learned today, not today, bro, sister, what I mean, and I'll conclude here. We have contact now in this modern times. They go by solar rotations, and they gave a number 847 solar rotations about their observation of us. 847 solar rotations. This is what they used. I started doing research on this rotation, birthdays rotation. There's the rotation around the sun. They weren't clear about actually what is a definitive definition for solar rotation. But we now know Atlas was sent. They gave us the number of 847 solar rotations. They've been watching us, observing. And they conclude that 200 years they have written down. And according to what the professor said, they played a lot of stuff on the monitor. They showed things that happened in the past, thousands of years on this monitor. They showed wars, migration of people. They showed wickedness. I mean, incredible. Incredible, brothers and sisters, incredible. So with that said, I'm getting close here to ending that. And I thank everybody for subscribing. I got a lot of subscribers last couple of days. And those who don't understand my videos, please keep an open mind. I'm not, I'm an elder. I'm a Muslim in Fulani, I'm Mipulo. And I have a different perspective because of my age and experiences. I'm going to give you stuff that nobody else really gives you and talks about. I'm going to give you analysis that help to guide you. See? And I suggest, that those to please to come to follow me and whatnot. And you don't have to agree with me, brothers, sisters. That's not what I'm trying to say. You don't have to agree because we're human beings. You're going to have different experiences. But just hear me out. And this case here is going to the heart of you, Kempty. Okay, black man. It goes to your heart because this message was given to your ancestors, our ancestors, thousands of years ago. Now, the gatekeeper, the guardian of the Federation and the cosmos was sent to our solar system now to tell us again about what we are doing wrong. And now the judgment has been rendered, saying they're going to curtail our intelligence. Meaning anything that we think that we've developed, they will stop it. Meaning talking about that can harm and that could be used to contact others and ours, it's over. It's over. That's what they're talking about. James Webb has been disabled and is now operating in itself. He said in one tape that one of the rovers or whatever they said that was out, now they have it focused. Their technology, they made it, here they are way over somewhere out in space, made them to focus on Earth and showed them on the oceans, to focus on the oceans. They took them from looking at outside space, they retasked the cameras and they sent it back to Earth, meaning the cameras now focus back to Earth. They mean business. They mean business, brothers and sisters. They mean business. And this is a serious, serious situation. I will, brother. Okay, yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, my dear brother. And, again, I just did a video here yesterday on, I call it the Fuller family and the universe. We play a hefty role in that before the colonial period. And of course, after that, they took all of that from us. And, so now we should go back and to study and brothers, sisters, please do the best you can. Stay away from the wickedness, because Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has told you. Now Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is sent a messenger to a degree, not prophet, a messenger from the cosmos, who's the guardian, okay, of the cosmos, of the Galactic Federation, and told us, you're finished. You're finished. We allow you to survive. That's our mercy. We're allowing you to survive. Yes. We allow you to do what eating food, having children, marriage, all that. Yes. But there's an indictment. And he said the message is for those who are separated from that, and that's the Muslims. And that coincides with what our Nabi has said in the Hadiths. And it coincides with Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, what he says about us. Because he says we should have that separation. And that now is telling. Very, very telling. So, brothers and sisters, with that, is there any more questions? If there's not, I'm going to conclude here. I got to make my prayer for the first evening prayer. And I wanted to talk about this issue and give you my insights on that. And keep following this and get the right stations. There's a lot of clickbait out there to give you all kind of crazy things. Some man landed on the Atlas. I mean, I saw some crazy thing today where they're saying that some man used a spacecraft to go and land on the Atlas. Okay, that's clickbait. That's all. I mean, they trying to get you just to, but it's false. But things with the professor and Avi Lowe and there's a couple others, you will follow them because they'll give you the right information and so forth to help you, because this is a serious matter and about your fate. And I'm hoping, brothers and sisters, I enlightened you today, and I'm hoping that you got something out of this and that you will, you will subscribe. And I do thank those who have subscribed to me, in the past and who are my supporters. I really, really, truly appreciate that very, very much. So, and thank you for that and whatnot. So, we got something here. Let me see, excuse me. We got, I'll take, okay, here we got our brothers. I'll take a look at this. Yes, thank you, brother. Thank you very much. And my cousin said, yeah, thank you very much for that. Yes, I'm here for that. I'm the elder. I'm here for that. And I'd give you something so you can start to get you to think and do the research. You're not going to get a lot of philosophical types of leadership like this in this day and time. It's unfortunate, but that is a reality. This I had to talk about and whatnot, this confirmed. And I feel sorry also for these who proclaim they're Muslims. And Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has already identified them in the Quran. And I feel sorry for them because I think about them. They have this mischief around me all day. It's 24 hours. And they're doing wickedness, everything, culminating to that guy come to me telling me to leave the religion. You know, these who are operating with these genocidal racists, they're part of the problem that they said your time is running out. And we don't know what that means. We have to coordinate with the Prophet what he says, because their timeline and our timeline is totally different. And of course, we know that the Nabi gave us instructions about when there will be destruction. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. And I suggest you non-Muslims, you look at the professors and listen to what he said, and you think about your belief system. And you believe in nothing, you think about that. If you believe in Christianity as it's taught you, you better look at that, because it's over here. It's not here. This is not a righteous path. It's not. And you got to be very, very careful now. And and you got to remember something, brothers and sisters. The Federation has now explained we're there. We're watching you. So now we know it's true. But that Jewish scientist said before they went underground, no one has seen him anymore. We don't know if he's even still alive. And he told the fact about this Federation himself. So now we know it's true. So brothers and sisters, I'll leave you with that. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.